Hello, we're going to have a look at incomplete records. Usually when we do the final accounts and balance sheet, we're using a trial balance. And that trial balance has come from the balances of the accounts in our ledger. And of course, the accounts in the ledger exist because we've been keeping proper books of accounts that we've posted to the ledger. With incomplete records, we haven't been keeping proper books of accounts, so we don't have a ledger. Therefore, we don't have any balances from which to extract a trial balance. So we've got incomplete records. And the more incomplete those records are, the less reliable the trading profit and loss and balance sheet will be, and the less acceptable they are to the likes of the revenue commissioners from the point of view of determining your tax liability, the less use they are to the bank managers in determining whether or not to grant a loan application or an overdraft. And of course, for the owner, him or herself, they're of little use in helping to make management decisions. So we try to avoid incomplete records by keeping proper books of accounts. And we'll speak about that in a later video. So, in incomplete records, as we see on the screen in front of us here, we've got two different types. On the left, we have the incomplete records that will be solved by finding our sales using a cash account and a debtors control account, and finding our purchases in a similar way using our cash or bank account for cash purchases and a creditors control account to find our credit purchases. And on the right, we've got an example of incomplete records where that isn't possible, and we end up using what's called the net worth method. Let's have a closer look at the one on the left here for A. Murphy, the so-called control accounts method. If we look carefully at the information provided to us here, we'll find that we can see that at the start of the year, Murphy is owed €18,000 by the debtors, and then at the end of the year, in that last paragraph there, the debtors owes €20,400. And somewhere in the other information given to us, we'll be told how much those debtors paid us during the year, and we can see it here in our bank lodgements. The debtors paid us €34,000. We've got enough information there from those three figures to be able to estimate the value of our credit sales. We'll see that soon. Similarly with our suppliers or trade creditors, we've got an opening balance of €22,500. That's how much we owe our suppliers at the start of the year. At the end of the year, we owe them €32,600. And again, up here somewhere, they'll tell us how much we paid our suppliers during the year. We can see it there in our bank payments. Creditors €42,100. Again, we've got three figures here that will help us to work out the value of our credit purchases. And therefore, we can do a creditors control account. If we contrast this with the other method, the so-called net worth method, we'll see that, take our debtors, although the debtors at the start are given to us €32,200 they owe us, and at the end of the year we find that now they owe us €34,000. Nowhere in the course of the question are we going to see the amount that the debtors paid us during the year. Therefore, we're not in a position to find our credit sales using a debtors control account. Similarly with our suppliers. At the start of the year, they were owed €35,700, trade creditors. At the end of the year, we owe our suppliers or trade creditors €35,400. But again, nowhere here in the course of the question will they tell us how much we paid our suppliers during the year. So again, it's not possible to find our purchases using a creditors control account. That's why we don't use the control account method. For this one here, for Fuller, we use the so-called net worth method. Another good indication of the fact that we're going to have to find our purchases and sales in a different manner in the net worth method is the fact that in that method, in the so-called working back method or the net worth method, typically we're told what our gross profit percentages or our markup, whichever is the case may be. Here they tell us that our gross profit is 20% of sales. So that gives us an indication that we're going to find our sales in an unusual way. So again, we've got two methods of solving for incomplete records. One, the control account methods, and secondly, the net worth method. On the left here for Murphy, we're going to look at this question next, and we're going to see how we can solve the incomplete records problem using control accounts. And in doing that, we follow 6 steps. I'll magnify this again for a moment so that we can see it properly. I'd recommend we follow 6 steps when we're doing the so-called control account method. Step 1, we'll find the opening capital and goodwill. Step 2, we'll find the sales using our cash account and, as referred to earlier, the debtors control account. We'll find our purchases using our cash or bank account for the cash purchases and our creditors control account to find the credit purchases. Step 4 will be to do all of our adjustments for arrears and prepayments and calculating depreciation and other adjustments like that. Step 5, we'll use a bank account to find our closing bank balance. And lastly, step 6, we'll calculate drawings. So in control account method, we'll use 6 steps to solve our difficulties before we do our trading profit and loss and balance sheet. However, in the net worth method, those 6 steps condense into 3. Steps 2 and 3 aren't possible because we can't do the control accounts, and it won't be necessary to find the closing bank balance because often it's given to us. So the 6 steps for that method condense down into 3. I've left them at 1, 4 and 6 there just to make the point that if you can do the incomplete records using the control account method, there's really no reason why you can't use the same steps, more or less in this case, and the same understanding to do your incomplete records using the net worth method. There'll be 3 steps for the net worth method. Again, finding your opening capital and goodwill, doing all of your adjustments, and calculating your drawings. So we'll have only 3 steps. So I'm going to go over now, and I'm going to, in the next video, begin the explanation for incomplete records using the control account method.